Joining us now, the pride and joy of Scottsdale, Arizona. And hey, when any of you are in Scottsdale, check out our sponsor, DeFalco's Deli, 2334 North Scottsdale Road. You can look them up online at defalcosdeli.com. This guy is one of the biggest Sun Devil fan favorites in recent years and one of the most dynamic offensive players ever to play for ASU. When he finished his Sun Devil career, he was one of only 5 Division I players ever to gain more than 2,000 career yards, both as a runner and as a receiver. And he finished with more than 4,800 all purpose yards, including 378 and 4 Territorial Cups games played, with 3 wins against the Wildcats. He spent time in the NFL with the Patriots and Cardinals, winning a Super Bowl with New England, and now he's with Toronto of the Canadian Football League. A true hometown hero, one of my very favorite guys to ever come through this Sun Devil football program. Let's bring him on. DJ Foster, my man, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys? No, thank you for having me. I'm excited, man. I love what you guys do with the podcast, so I'm glad I get to join you guys.
It has been too long. So first off, happy belated birthday. How is life treating you up in Canada?
Thank you. It's been great. It's been a fun experience. I kind of came up here last second, so just being able to come up here, play football, and I've enjoyed it. It's been such a fun experience, and we actually have a chance to go win a Grey Cup championship up here, which I mean, it's pretty cool to come up here and be part of a winning team. So I've loved it, made a lot of great friends, a lot of good teammates and stuff.
So I have a two-part question for you. First off, obviously the CFL has some different rules than the American game that perhaps fans are more familiar
Yeah.
with. Well, so far, what's been the weirdest adjustment to make in terms of playing under the CFL rules?
The two would be the three downs. So being a third down back, especially in the NFL, coming in and like understand like, hey, this is third. Like you have two downs to get 10 yards. Sometimes that can be tough mentally to think like first down, you have to every yard is so important, especially being a running back, running the ball. It's a very pass heavy league. So that and then the motion towards the line of scrimmage. I still have difficulty with that sometimes. Like so you can run 20 yards deep to the line of scrimmage and take off. So some of those two things, having the timing of those were kind of hard, but I've adjusted and it's been fun learning the new style of football.
And then on the second part, what's your favorite wrinkle of what's the rule up there that you found yourself liking the most, being different from the NFL and college rules?
I would say the tempo of the game. It's a wider field, so you can do a lot more motions, and especially for guys like me that like to run, east and west, get out on motions and stuff like that. So the creativity of the offenses have been really cool to be a part of, and just see how different coaches view things with having an extra player on the field as well. That's another thing that we know is different. So having those two things, and it's been fun.
Now, looking back at your time at ASU, and of course, this being rivalry week, got to talk about the battles with the Wildcats. During your matchups
Yeah.
against U of A, what have been your favorite rivalry memories?
Well, first, I mean, when Joe was saying I won three, that fourth one that hurts. To win, you want to go undefeated in your time there, so that one still hurts my junior year. But I would say, my freshman year going down there in 2012, Coach Graham's first year, I think that was a big statement to go down there, win that game, at their place, and the game it was a very fun, exciting game, and to feel that intensity, having my family up there and being a kid from Arizona, you have a lot of friends that go to U of A and family members. There's so many ties, and when you're from Arizona. So that one was my first memorable. And then I would say my sophomore year, Marion Grice going down and me getting the chance to kind of step up and go and play that game and going on to the Pac-12 championship. I think that game was kind of the start for me to kind of embrace and get to shine and go into play kind of free.
So now, during your time at ASU, you're obviously one of the team's most important players at a time that ASU had its best back-to-back season since the 1970s. You won the Pac-12 South. You beat Notre Dame, a key part of that Jail Mary win at USC. But
Yeah.
where did those U of A games rank as far as just those most important games that you'll remember fondly from playing at ASU?
how, there's so many, like you said, there's so many amazing games and fun games played, but those are the ones that, especially for, just being a part of that rivalry, those are the ones that stick with you. I mean, you remember so many details of those games. You remember how your family feels, when you win. You remember how your family feels when you lose and how the community feels. And I think that's why this game is so big because it just branches so much farther than just the locker room and just your team. There's so many people connected to this game, and I think that's why these games are so memorable. And whenever I get a chance to talk to the guys that are there and the guys that are playing, that's the thing I tell them is just it's just so much bigger than you. There's grandparents, there's cousins, there's people that are watching this game, that can be so intertwined with it and tied with it, and that's why it's so important.
So we're going to take it year by year, talking about the wins that you had. You mentioned that game in 2012 when you were a freshman. That was a pretty wild one. ASU made a double-digit fourth quarter comeback to win
Yeah.
41-34. What was that experience like for you? Not just playing that game for the first time, but being in their stadium with their fans and getting to send them home heartbroken with a loss.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, we had a really good team. You guys know, I mean, we had a bunch of talented players. So I think that, going in there, like I said, Graham's first year, starting that tradition off right with the new coaching staff and kind of getting that taste of victory to kind of set the tone. Like I said, one got away from us, at least for me, my junior year. But you know, those games are just so important. I think that set the tempo for it. And a lot of those guys had a lot of passion. They were with Erickson's staff, and I think they kind of helped carry that tradition and let young guys like me know how important that game was, having those older guys. And I think those older guys in the team now, they got to continue to do the same thing. Let these young guys know that, this game is extremely important.
So on to the next year, 2013. Things are rolling. You win the South. Marion Grice suffers a season-ending
Yeah.
injury the week before against UCLA. You mentioned that. So you're shifting gears from the all-purpose guy to the primary
hmm
tailback. Worked out just fine. You were the game's MVP, 124 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and that blowout win for ASU. So heading into that game, was your preparation, mindset any different? And what was it like just to completely torch the Wildcats at home that night?
Yeah, that one was big because, like I said, when Marion Grice got hurt, and we had a chance to do something really special that season when we did after that game. So I think that was a pivotal moment for us and for me to just kind of step up and just try to be a leader as much as I could, even though I was young. And I just for that game, I remember U of A was just talking so much smack that year specifically. I remember I was in there. They called him Vanilla Vic. He was the quarterback. They had Kadeem Carey. They had a lot of
Mhm.
talented players, and I know that they really wanted to come and get a dub in our house. So I think that was a big statement game that led us to go into the Pac-12 championship that year and kind of finish our season out with a big win like that.
So your senior season, 2015, there's some parallels between that team and this team to where they're really high preseason
Yeah.
expectations, just things for a variety of reasons didn't quite work out. Now that season, of course, ended with a 52 to
hmm
37 win over the Wildcats. So if you were to talk to this team right now, who they're not in a position to achieve their highest goals as far as getting to the Rose Bowl, what would you tell them so that they stay hungry and motivated and treat this
Yeah.
game on Saturday like it's the Rose Bowl?
You just can't take these games for granted. These games are so important, and especially like you said, my senior year, sometimes the season doesn't work out, how you want it to, and you can't dwell on it. You just got to worry about the game in front of you. And these are one of those games that you truly do remember these, for your life. And when your career's done and you move on, those games stand in history. And I just think that's such a big thing, and like you said, you can't dwell on it. And it's been tough. I always root, to the core, Sun Devil. And it's been tough. I really had some tough games this year, but I just hope they can finish off strong, find a way, dig deep down and, go out in there and just fight. And the way the talent on the team is incredible to watch. So I have no doubt that they're going to go, take care of business Saturday.
Now, there wasn't a ton of good news in the world that came out of the year 2020, but there was one really good thing that happened last year, and that was in December when ASU absolutely obliterated the U of A 70 to
Yeah.
7 in Tucson. What was it like for you to just watch that
Oh,
game and
it
see
was
that happen?
just pure joy. It was just pure joy. Like it was like Christmas Day, just seeing that massacre and that feeling and just like every time I'd look at the screen, I'm like, is this really happening? And I would talk to my friends like, there's no way this is real. But just like you said, that rivalry runs so deep, like family and friends, people calling me and texting me, like I felt like I was still playing. That's how important this game is, and that's how much it means to alumni and stuff like that. So I mean, just to watch that, and I feel like it's going to be very similar, this weekend because of just how talented this team is, and I think that they'll rise to the occasion and take care of business dominantly.
one of those talented guys on this team is running back Rashad White. Like yourself, a very dynamic, all-purpose guy. A guy who can be effective on the ground as a receiver. And your chances of getting to see Rashad in action over the last couple seasons, what are your thoughts on what he brings to this team?
He's an excellent running back. I don't know him personally, but just watching some games, he kind of reminds me of Marion Grice a little bit in the sense of his balance. You know, the way he can continue to move his body after contact and how he's able to keep going forward. And I've been very impressed with him. He's had a tremendous year, and the sky's the limit for him. It sounds like he's just scratching the surface too, which is really exciting to hear him just starting to come into his own. And I think he's going to be someone that they need to lean on, this coming up Saturday and get the run game going.
So on this year's team, because of the extra eligibility that players got from the COVID season, you've got a couple guys like Chase Lucas, who with a win Saturday, not would only be undefeated for their careers against the U of A, but they'd be 5-0 against the U of A for
That's
their
big.
careers. For a guy that was close, he almost got that perfect 4-0 record. What would that feel like if you were in that spot to where the rest of your life you could say, not only am I undefeated, but man, it's 5-0?
That's huge, and just to not have any losses on your resume to them, that's huge. And Chase is something that I've seen even coming out recruiting and helping him. Just when he was at Chandler, just to see the career he's had has been so fun. And I know he's such a big leader on that team, and you see the way guys feed off of him every week. And guys like that who's been around for so long now, I mean, which is crazy to say that he's been around there for 5 years. He needs to go into that locker room, and I know he will, and let these guys know how important this is and how intense this game's going to be for some of those guys, and this may be their first time. So guys like that, seniors like that, and leaders like that will have to step up.
Now, it's been a few years since you last donned the maroon and gold and faced the Wildcats on the field. All these years later, how has your feeling towards this rivalry evolved?
Um, it's still intense. It's still, especially playing. I mean, like I still I still play against guys from. I mean, we played against Kadeem Carey, who's up in the CFL, and I have teammates with Shaq Richardson, and so I still come across guys from U of A, and and I will have a bet this week. I'll let you guys know that for sure. Me and Shaq will have a bet, a big bet, and I'm actually gonna talk to him about that tomorrow. But it's
I
intense,
got an extra 8
and
jersey I could mail to you if you wanted to wear that or
yeah,
something like
exactly,
that.
exactly. I may have to put that in his locker room. But it's that intense that it still goes with us, and whenever this week comes, I mean, we know how important it is, and on both sides. So, I mean, it still lives strong, and I know even talking to alumni that are 20 years ago, it's there. It's there. You can see the excitement on their face. You see it in their eyes. You know how much it means to them, and that's just how important this game is for sure.
DJ, my friend, always great to catch up with you. All the best to you for
Yeah.
the rest of the season. Best of luck there. Keep living the good life up in Canada, and let's all get a big win here on Saturday. Enjoy that and keep things going up there in Toronto.
Awesome. No, thank you guys for having me, man. Go Devils, and I'll see you guys when I get home for sure.